Hey, so welcome back to Green Pastures Online Devotional. This morning I am sitting in the kids' play frame because I wanted to introduce you to someone who's very important to me, who I've talked a lot about in the past. It's the apple tree. Talked a lot about this tree, haven't I? And I just love the apple trees pretty much because it's the only thing that has grown in this garden and grown for any length of time. These two apple trees were here when we moved in, and they were one of the things I loved about this place. Really old apple trees, and they've been really fruitful, but they are so seasonal. And all it takes is for me to look out my bedroom window and watch what they're going through and watch what they're producing and watch what they look like to tell us what season they're in. And you know, in this period of lockdown, we've heard that phrase a lot. It's just a season, isn't it? And anybody ready for the season to be over? And it's great to hear this week that things are starting to change and we're starting to see lightening of some of the lockdown rules. But it's been an interesting season, hasn't it? But I am sure for all of us, God's been doing something very different in this season of lockdown. And when I look at this tree and when I go into God's word, God ordained seasons, and Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, we all know that. Verse 2, everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. So God has been at work. And when I look at the tree in winter, it's bare, it's twiggy and nothing going on, stripped right back. In fact, in winter, it's the time when pruning's done. It's time when things are cut back from the tree, and it's the time probably when the tree on the surface looks the most hopeless. Who in the middle of this lockdown period is going, yeah, that's me. I'm in a winter season, and on the surface it's been a struggle. Can I encourage you right now, in the middle of the winter season, in the middle of the lockdown, in a place where it looks like and feels like on the surface not much is going on, God is at work in the depths. God's at work in the root system. God is at work teaching you and changing you and preparing you for what is to come. The winter season's a tough one. I've been through winter seasons that feel like they've lasted for years, but God's been at work in the middle of the winter season, and one of the most important things in it is to wait, is to be still and know that He is God, to wait for Him, because He is a good God and He is at work in the middle of the winter season. Perhaps maybe in this season you feel like things have been pruned back from you. Maybe you've experienced loss. Maybe something's happened that you feel has cut away a hope or dreams that you've had. Can I encourage you again on the law of pruning? God prunes back healthy things for new growth. So new growth is coming where you've experienced loss or where you feel something's been cut right back. God will bring new growth in that area. So that's a promise, that's a law, and that new growth is coming to you after this maybe really long, dark winter season, because spring's right round the corner. So I've watched this tree in the spring season, and it just all of a sudden springs into life. There's colour and there's growth and there's flowers, there's these wee blooms on the tree, they appear all over it, and there's so much activity and busyness. And maybe strangely in the lockdown season you maybe felt like you are in a spring season. Do you know what that's about? God's giving you new beginnings, a fresh start. New opportunities are coming to you in this spring season, and there's a lovely ease with that. It springs forth. God's giving you a fresh start, and there are lovely things happening in your spring season. Pray into that. See, after that winter season where there's been shutdown and lockdown and lack of growth and maybe just stillness and quietness, God's about to bring you into spring, and the spring season will maybe ignite some old passions that you had before, or remind you of the call of God that was on your life as you come out and as you break out of what's been a really tough season. I pray that God would rekindle those things in you again, that God will stir them up and remind you of them, because this tree is just bursting into life, and it's lovely to watch, and it's lovely to watch people in the spring season. So I celebrate with you and celebrate with God and press on into God for all those things that God is doing for you in the spring season. And you know, summer, this tree again looks very different because the blooms all go and the seeds of fruit begin to show on the tree. Maybe that's where you're at. Maybe you're in the summer season where there is visual fruit. There is fruit appearing on the tree, and you really feel, yeah, I see the fulfillment of what God has called me into. Nurture that fruit, take care of that fruit, because the Bible talks about the birds of the air that come to steal the fruit and steal the seed that has been sown. So guard the seed that God's sown into your life. But that seed is fruitful, and that seed is going to take root, and that seed's going to be productive. We're in a summer season where there's produce and things happening in your life. So again, celebrate with God on that and lean in and pray protection over that fruit, because it's so important. And then autumn for this tree, again, just love autumn for the apple tree, because it's covered in fruit, it is covered in apples, and it's a time where we reap. So we reap everything that's gone on in the winter season inside the tree and in the root system of the tree that no one saw, that no one knew about. So the autumn season in your life is going to bring reaping of that winter season where God maybe broke you down, where God maybe pruned things right back. Well, the summer's coming, the autumn's coming. Can I encourage you in that? The fruit is coming from that winter season, from that spring, from that summer. The fruitful season is coming, and you'll harvest it. We need to prepare for that. And again, at the end of the autumn, when we gather in all the fruit, there's a preparation for winter as well. The fruit is provision. So what is God providing for you right now? Maybe I know it's spring and I know it's been locked down, but maybe you're in that season where you've walked in fruitfulness and God's been good. Well, what's that provision for? Pray into that and go, God, well, how do I, maybe there's some of this provision I need to store up for the future. Maybe there's some of this teaching that you've been sowing into me that I see now as producing. Maybe I need to store some of that up. Maybe I need to write that down. Maybe that's a book or a blog or something that God's been asking you to do. There's fruit right now in this lockdown season, and press into God and look for that and prepare it, protect it and plan for what you're going to do with that provision. So can I encourage you today, in whatever season you're in, commit to it, stick to it, stick close to God on it, because He is at work. No matter what season you're in, no matter what it looks like, He is at work in this season. And Galatians 6 verse 9 says this: in due season we will reap if we faint not. Keep going. Can I encourage you today? Keep going through whatever season you're in, because God wastes nothing. And here's what Ecclesiastes says too: He will make all things beautiful in its time. So He is working at that. He is working at that winter, spring, summer and autumn. He is working to make all things beautiful. So be encouraged today.